All right, there we go. Welcome, everyone. My name is Adam Jones. I'm with Sustainable Buildings Canada. I'm happy to welcome you to another in our series of webinars. This one is focused on residential deep energy retrofits, which I can already see many of the people on the call have plenty of experience with. So today we're doing this in partnership with Retrofit Canada. So we'll have two presentations from our partner at Retrofit Canada, Rebecca, who you'll see there on the screen, and Nastaran, who is with us at SBC. First things first, I'd like to do a land acknowledgement for SBC. Our offices are located in Takaronto, which translates from Mohawk, is the place where there are trees standing in the water. It is part of the treaty lands and territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit and the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Wendat, and the Haudenosaunee. Takaronto is within the territory lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, which is an agreement between the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the allied nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. I recently learned that this was an ongoing annual negotiation. Really, we think of it as something that just happened once and then exists in perpetuity, but it's something that was continually revisited and negotiated. And I think that really is helpful in terms of what we're looking at with most of our sustainability work, particularly in something like this, where we're talking about things that already exist and how we can make them better and make them more useful and shared among different groups who use them. SBC is committed to truth and reconciliation and to honoring the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, and we gratefully acknowledge and express gratitude to be able to live and work on this land. Right, here's our brief agenda for today. Again, here we are at the introduction. I've got a few things to share about Sustainable Buildings Canada and the work that we're doing, and then we will hear from Rebecca Pinto at Retrofit Canada, and then Nastaran Makaremi from Sustainable Buildings Canada. As always, I'm going to share, we have lots of resources for new construction on our website, which you can find here at the link below. And as many of you know, we work with Enbridge Gas on the Savings by Design program. So if you have an existing project or sort of a project that has not yet been built that you're working on, please reach out to us to see how we can help you get into the Savings by Design program, which is all about helping you assess different components of a design upfront using energy modeling and then getting incentives from Enbridge for that improved building. We also have resources for existing buildings. This is really what we're talking about today. So the resources page that's linked there, that is just sort of our research that we've supported through the past Sustainable Buildings Canada. And so there's a lot of research there. If you see something on that page, or rather you don't see something on that page that you think would be useful research, please reach out to us. We are always supporting research on anything within the sustainable built environment. So in that vein, one of the things that we're working on right now is the Better Condos Boot Camp. So this is a training session for building condos. So existing buildings, condos specifically. We're running this with the Atmospheric Fund, and what it is sort of a deep training session for a single owner of a condo within the building, a condo manager, and someone from the condo board. They come with our team of subject matter experts to learn about how they can improve their condominium and some of the potential risks of not upgrading their condos to be more energy efficient. So I encourage you to go to that link there, sbcanada.org, Better Condos Bootcamp, to learn more about those. So these are actively going on right now. It's a free program. Please check that out if you have any condos or if you're a condo owner yourself. All right, as you're in this webinar, there are a few different ways that you can engage. Primarily during the webinar is just raise your virtual hand, type something in the chat. We will ask for questions. If you have questions, you can just open up your mic and ask the question. when we request that. After the webinar, we will reach out with a link, so you'll get the slide decks of both presentations, a recording of the webinar, and the presenter contact info. And then we store all of our videos on our YouTube channel. We probably will begin hosting these elsewhere as well, as YouTube is a bit of a challenge these days. So keep an eye out for that email following the webinar. Here's all the things I already said about how to engage during. Again, put it in the chat. We will ask if you have questions, and we'll just call on you to open up your mic. Tucked in the back here, the Mass Timber Costing Guide is another project that we're working on, funded by Enercan and in partnership with the RDH Building Science. So this, we're really focused on mass timber as a potential structural building material for multi-unit residential buildings. If you have any examples of these that are sort of in construction or finishing construction, please reach out to us. Otherwise, keep an eye out for this. We're just wrapping up our final draft of this, and it should be released this summer. All right, our presenters today, I can see they're both on camera. Rebecca Pinto, the Executive Director of Retrofit Canada, is going to give us an overview of the work that they are doing, particularly on the retrofit case studies. So we have been working sort of adjacent to Retrofit Canada through our EnergySpring work. So with the Enercan Greener Neighborhoods Pilot Program, Retrofit Canada and Sustainable Buildings Canada are two of the funded organizations. And so as we've been meeting with that group, we've had this really great opportunity to share a lot of the lessons across the country. And the work that Retrofit Canada is doing is really, really interesting, and we hope interesting to everyone on the call today. And then Nastaran Makaremi, our program manager for the EnergySpring program, is going to give us an update sort of on all the tools and resources that have been developed through that process. So I think that was my last slide. I'm going to hand things over to Rebecca now. So I'll stop sharing. Rebecca, please take over.
Sure. Let me make sure I'm choosing the right one. Okay, there. Okay, perfect.
So we're seeing it right now in like edit mode.
Okay, there. That should be in presentation mode, correct?
Looks good.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks, Adam. So hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here, and thanks to Adam for inviting me to speak. So today I'll be talking to you about Retrofit Canada's case study library. And it is a database of Canadian deep energy retrofits. So we're really excited. We got funding a few years ago from Enercan to do this. And yeah, I'm excited to be talking to you about it today. Adam has already done an excellent job of doing a land acknowledgement. I just want to let everyone know I'm coming to you today from Edmonton. And so that is situated in Treaty 6 territory. And Edmonton's Indigenous name in Cree actually is Amiskwasso Waskahikan, and that means Beaver Hills House. So it's very different from the land in which the trees are in the water. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. So a little bit about Retrofit Canada. Some of you may already know about us. So we are a nonprofit organization, and we exist to share solutions, eliminate barriers, and accelerate deep retrofits in Canada to, of course, avert a climate catastrophe. So our mission is to accelerate retrofits for every home in Canada. And so the goal of the Canadian government is to retrofit every home in Canada in 2050 by 2050. And so we are hoping to help accelerate that process. We are an open source organization. So that means that all of our resources are available freely. And we're hoping to collaborate, and we're seeking partnerships with anyone who's working to reduce energy use and greenhouse gas emissions from buildings. So our funding primarily comes from Natural Resources Canada, the GMPP grant, which Adam mentioned previously. We are also funded by Smart Sustainable Resilient Infrastructure Association, SSRIA, and the Alberta Eco Trust. So a little bit about me. So I'm the executive director of Retrofit Canada. I'm a professional engineer. I have completed my PhD in mechanical engineering in sustainable building energy systems, and I did that at Carleton University in Ottawa. I'm originally from Edmonton, so my background is chemical engineer, but my expertise is really energy, heat transfer, thermodynamics, etc. Um, my partner and I completed a deep energy retrofit of our home uh, last year, and it's a 1951 wartime bungalow, and that's here in Edmonton. And you know what? Last year we had a cold winter, and we people think that cold climate heat pumps, how good do they work in cold weather? Well, we're here in Edmonton, so minus 40, and we had really minimal, only a few times that our secondary heating kicked on. So our cold climate air source heat pump really was doing a good job. Um, yeah. So before I joined Retrofit Canada, I worked in France. I have my master's in France in energy engineering, and I was designing industrial heat exchangers. And then I moved back to Canada. I was troubleshooting tailings ponds in the Alberta oil sands. But I wanted to make the transition to the high performance building sector, and so I did that in 2016. And yeah, after my PhD, I worked for IES as a software engineer. So that's the building simulation software program for energy modeling. And I was working as part of their core physics simulation engine team. So I come to you with a lot of knowledge of building science and personal experience with deep energy retrofits. And so I'm happy to, take your questions or chat about anything afterwards. All right, so to get to the main part of the presentation, um, the case study library that Retrofit Canada started, why did we do that? Why did we propose this project? So in Canada, we noticed that we often work in silos across the country. We have a really large geographic area. Some retrofitters, builders, in one part of the country, they may be innovating and having new innovative methods for a particular retrofit or type of detail. And there was really no way to share that with retrofitters in a different part of the country other than just, having that personal connection of your own network. And so we wanted to break those silos, amalgamate all the information in one open source place, and kind of become, the authority on open source information from a neutral third party in Canada. So that was the impetus behind the case study library. So I will in a moment share with you the link and QR code to access the case study library. But first, before I do that and everyone gets distracted, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about our case study library. So here's a screenshot of it. So our library documents real world deep energy retrofit projects from across the country. So these have already been built, and we are trying to get case studies that represent all the different climate zones, geographic regions in Canada, in order to be more relevant for everyone. So each case study explores the full renovation process and documents it, including the design approach, materials that were used, the project team, specification, energy performance outcomes, and lessons learned. Um, so that includes descriptions of the original building, pre-retrofit condition. We have pictures of, as much as the clients are willing to share. We have pictures of pre-retrofit, during construction, after construction. Um, yeah, the age of the building, like I mentioned, climate zone, and a description of the measures it used to make it net zero or net zero ready. Um, We also have information on cost in our back end. So I'll mention that our database, it's not just a case study portal, uh, as you see before you in the screenshot, but we also have a back end database of information that as we grow our case study library, we're hoping to have that more and more useful for anyone who's doing research or wants to examine trends in all this information. So we do have an API, and you can contact us through our website. You can see that on the screenshot at the top of our page. It says if you want to access the case study library through an API, to contact us. So, like I said, it's open source, and yeah, we're hoping to make that as easy as possible. So, um, yeah, so we do have that costing, some of that costing data in the background. We don't publish that for everyone to see, but that is in the background, that we anonymize. And yeah, that's something that we find actually was people are more reticent to give out costing data. So we don't have it for all of the retrofit case studies, but where we do have it, yeah, it's available in the back. We also have, for as many of the case studies as possible, we have links to solutions for architectural and geometric complications, so details that are available for each case study as well. So let's get into the case study library. So if you'd like, you can, I'm not sure if you can click on your screen. I can click on my screen, but I've put a QR code up there if you want to go to our case study library. Um, and so, so we've defined deep energy retrofit as having a reduction in energy use by 50% or more. And so those are the kinds of case studies that we are looking for. And we're not looking at new builds, of course, we're looking at retrofits, or sometimes there's a retrofit and then, an addition or something like that. So those are all the types of cases that we have. And we're always looking for more. So if I would really love if anyone on this call knows of a deep energy retrofit that has happened, if you could get in touch with me and put us in touch with that person, the homeowner, or the business who did the retrofit. We would love to hear from you. So, oh, oops. Okay, so I want to actually now just go to the case study library. Oops. Okay. Okay, so yeah, let's just have kind of a live exploration of it. I'm just trying to move this header bar. Okay. So, yeah, so we've tried to make this as simple as possible. If you go to our website, retrofitcanada.com, you can navigate to the case study library. So we have featured case studies on our main page, as well as other information. You can navigate to the top bar there, case studies, and it takes you directly to the case study library. You can sort by these different ways, but we also have filters here on the left, where if you, for example, know that there's a builder that you'd like to search for, or an energy advisory company, and they worked on certain projects, you can search for a specific team member or project team here. You can also search from year built. So let's say I'm looking for retrofits that took place on homes that were built, I don't know, between 1918 and 1968. You can also filter that way. So actually, there's quite a few. Um, you can search by province or territory. So we are, I would like to put a call out for any retrofits in Saskatchewan. I know that there are retrofits and we're trying to get some from the city of Saskatoon because we know they've assisted people in doing deep energy retrofits, but um, we've been unable to get that happening. So we'd love to represent Saskatchewan on our case study library. So if you know some people, please reach out. So for example, if I want to, see some of the ones that are in Quebec, or we have quite a few from Alberta, actually, which is great. We do have some we have one in the Northwest Territories. So, different climate zones. There's some in the Atlantic provinces. So yeah, so we try to make this as useful as possible. You can search, so type of building, duplex, row house, etc., single family home, the building structure as well, climate zones. We also have if the retrofit was staged or not. So staged means, for example, of course, retrofits are expensive. So if you can only finance a part of your retrofit, um, then you do it in stages. And so that is basically what that means. So we do have some staged retrofits. Some people choose to do their retrofits all at once because, of course, that is the easiest way to do it, I guess you could say. If you have the financing available, we have also retrofit type. So was it just an envelope retrofit? Was it also mechanical systems or was it both? And we also have the performance level. So at the end of the retrofit, was the home net zero? Was it net zero ready? Or was it some other classification? So yeah, so that's really useful. And the goal behind this is there's so much information out there about retrofits. Our goal initially was to target primarily builders, architects, et cetera, people who were working in this space. But it's kind of also become a target for the savvy homeowner, or the educated homeowner because, people are going out there and doing research. For example, when my partner and I wanted to do our own retrofit, we were out there looking for information on retrofits, how other people had done it. And so that's what we're hoping to provide with this case study library is a place that, let's say you're a retrofitter uh, in PEI, you want to know, you have a home that was built in the 1950s that you want to retrofit. You want to look at how other homes of maybe similar climate zone had done that. So, you can, okay, so we don't have any climate zone 5. That's weird. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna have to check into that. Well, we just did a big update on our portal backend, so maybe that climate zone filter isn't working properly. But anyways, it should work normally. Yeah, I'll look into that. But anyways, let's say you're looking, there's a house in PEI and you're like, oh, okay, there's a heritage home here that was retrofitted. So you can go through and have a look at this home and how they did it. Um, anyways, yeah. So that was kind of our goal to be able to connect people um to the solutions that have already happened, to the retrofit details that exist, and to accelerate retrofits in that way. So I do want to show you some examples. So I'm gonna, if you want to follow along, you can click on this first example. I'll also show you how to navigate to it because I know not everyone is going to be able to click on it. So this retrofit happened in Quebec, and it was actually a really interesting retrofit. It was a row home duplex, which people are often hesitant to say that, we can retrofit because we have party walls, etc. This was an 1890s home, so it was quite old. And so yeah, so this was a really exciting retrofit actually. And so I just want to kind of highlight some of the things that we have on our website that you could look at, for example, for a home like this. Um, so at the top, we always have this summary of the retrofit. So that's all the important information, basic information, one place. So year built, climate zone, is the retrofit complete? Yes, usually all of the retrofits on our website are complete. Was this done in phases? And importantly, we always have the energy savings. We often take the Ener guide. A lot of people will have had energy advisors come in and they have had Ener guide assessments done before and after. And so we use that information as well as interviewing the homeowner usually if we're able to populate all this data. Um, we have the total floor area. We've written post retrofit because sometimes people will have an addition to their home. So that's why that information is there. Foundation type, year completed. Did the geometry of the house change during the retrofits, or was there an addition or some kind of change? The operational carbon savings and the performance level. So this home, for example, is net zero ready. Um, we have project teams. So again, if people they could click and find builders in their area or energy advisors, etc. Um, this home, for example, the project goals were um, to have EV charging and a potential two-way, like back to the grid. Um, it was to be net zero ready. Here's the upgrades they did, for example. And then we often have quite a detailed project description about how the retrofit was planned, what the goals were. Um, so, for example, this person said first and foremost, it's a revenue property. So they needed to manage the budget. And it's also their primary residence. So they also designed it to meet their long-term needs. So this kind of gives context for the retrofit, and helps with that. Then we have the retrofit approach. So in this case, there was a LiDAR scan, et cetera. So I'm not going to go through all of it, but we have quite a lot of information there for the people who want it. Um, we also have a lessons learned section, which is quite interesting. Um, and so for example, here they said that they were able to use air sealing to get from 16 air changes per hour to 5, but they wanted it to be further reduced. So then they used aero barrier to reduce it further. So something like that. Um, in each of our case studies, we also have this before and after drop down section, and this is where the numbers really come in. So, for example, what was the building condition before the retrofit? It was basically in its original condition. There were only aesthetic upgrades, and then there was a major performance upgrade afterwards. So these are tags that we also use in our backend. So again, these could be accessed through the API for if you're looking through the database and you want to know, okay, which homes had a major performance upgrade, et cetera. So we have these tags in there for that reason. We have information on the envelope. So, for example, the ceiling, the attic previously was uninsulated. Afterwards, it had 6 inches of cell spray foam. We have information on the foundation assembly, wall assembly, air tightness, information on the envelope, other than what was previously described above there. Windows and doors. We have effective thermal resistance for ceiling attic assemblies, foundation walls, wall assemblies. So there is quite a bit of information. And we all also, where possible, get the Hot 2000 file and extract information from that. There's information on the mechanicals. So a lot of times homes don't have cooling previously, and then a lot of them have heat pumps after. So you have information on that, what the type of heating was previously, um, hot water, was there ventilation, renewables, electrical service. Um, the electrical service is something that we've just recently added because we're hearing that a lot of retrofits, when they go to retrofit, um, because of the conservative calculations, in the electrical code, et cetera, and the city like jurisdictions usually, they're told they need to upgrade to, maybe from a 100 to 200 amps. But then afterwards, we've also seen in a lot of cases that people aren't actually ever using, anything past the 100 amps or even close to it. And so that's been interesting. So, for example, my partner and I, we were able to stay at 100 amps when we did our energy retrofit. And that's because we really kind of pushed back on some of the things that we were being told and showed some calculations, et cetera, that, we could stay at 100 amps. So that's another category that people were asking about and that we've added. You also find information on total energy use, which is very interesting, of course. So there's total annual consumption, and there's net consumption for homes that have solar and are generating their own electricity. Oftentimes, this can be near zero or below zero. We have energy use intensity, etc. Light and appliance consumption, space heating, ventilation. So a lot of this was populated from the Hot 2000 files, and or from the EnerGuide homeowner information sheets. Yeah, the last thing we have here in this section is carbon emissions. So these are calculated in the back end through the information from the homeowner information sheets, and we get the information from the government of Canada as to, if you're in Quebec, what are your carbon emissions associated with the electricity or other provinces. And so we have that information available here. I'm gonna just wrap up by saying that we also have, so another really information or interesting and important feature we have are technical documents. So we make those available for download. So you can see we have the EnerGuide homeowner information sheets available, for example. So if you click on that, you're able to, of course, he was in Quebec, so his is in French, but the information is all there, and I'm sure we all know how to read these. So we have the pre and post HOIS files. We have EnerGuide labels. Where possible, we have, the Hot 2000 files. And we have additional information, specs, etc., as the client provides them. We also, where the client can provide drawings or details, we have that. So if an architect, builder, someone wants to come and say, hey, how did this home achieve, how did that wall assembly look? So here we have that information, which is really valuable. And yeah, so you can see how they did those details. We also have some hand-drawn
This
ones
is
from Philippe.
this is exceptionally detailed.
Yes, this one is very detailed. He's a builder, and so he was especially interested in this. But a lot of our case studies are quite detailed. So I'll let you guys explore. So I'll show. So there's pre-retrofit photos, construction photos. They were, deconstructed the home down to the studs.
So as we look through these, we've got a question in the chat about
Sure.
if there are any condominium examples.
Yeah, so we often get that question. So at this point, we only have Part 9 homes, because I believe condominiums, are they under Part 3? Or I guess
It
I'm,
would
I'm not
really
quite
depend
sure.
on the form, I would think.
Yeah, I think anyways, but we are working with some condominiums that we know, especially like social housing type, to get those retrofits. Um, but our funding was primarily aimed at kind of this sector, but that is something that we get a lot of questions about, and we would like to add. So please send us your case studies on condos that have been retrofitted, and we would love to add those. Yeah.
All right, excellent.
Um, Go
I
ahead.
think we are at a time we have to switch back now.
Sure, yes. Well, and that's
Um,
basically it. So I was just
okay.
gonna say, I'll just end by saying, yeah, so I had a couple of case studies there. If you want an example of uh, a totally net zero house that was done it was done in North Vancouver. We have a few, obviously, but there's an example, so you can have a look. You can connect with us on all of our socials. We post quite a bit, at least once a week. And yeah, you can find us and follow us, subscribe to our newsletter as well for updates on case studies, etc. And like I said, if you have any case studies that you'd like to submit, please get in touch with me. And thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you, Rebecca.
Yes,
There are some questions in the chat. I will ask if you can answer some of those directly in the chat.
sure, I'll do that.
That would be great. And we will transfer our attention slightly. Nastaran, please share your screen now, whenever you, as if you can. And I just want to add that this is an incredible case study database. It is really helpful for us in what we're doing, what Nastran is about to show you. It has been really helpful to be able to direct people to these case studies because it is very much the cost, the complexity of it is difficult to understand. We are focused on sort of bigger portfolio size projects, but to get people to understand the types of decisions that they need to make, it's been really, really helpful. So I encourage everyone. I know there are some people on the call who have done this type of work. So if you can upload your projects as case studies, that would be wonderful. All right, I'm going to mute myself so that Nastaran, please take it away. Oh, I don't see your screen sharing yet. Again, minor difficulties. 1 second.
Thank you, Adam. And thank you, Rebecca, for your presentation.
That was good.
Okay. And thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Nastaran Makaremi and I am a program manager with SBC. In this session, I will briefly present the EnergySpring program and the resources that we have developed to support deep energy retrofit in social housing. And I will also introduce the next step for EnergySpring cost benefit tool, and will invite you to the process to help us to better understand how useful the tool is and how it can be improved. Actually, for social housing providers, deep energy retrofits are not only an energy and carbon issue. They are also connected to asset renewal, housing preservation, residential comfort, and long-term capital planning. Many social housing buildings in Ontario and across Canada are aging. At the same time, housing providers are dealing with a constrained budget, rising performance expectation, and municipal climate commitments. So the question is not really whether retrofit matters. The real question is how to make them practical, fundable, and scalable across their portfolio. So this is where the EnergySpring model becomes useful as a model. EnergySpring, and what is EnergySpring? Actually, EnergySpring is inspired by the EnergySpring model, which originated in the Netherlands. EnergySpring means energy lead. It referred to an integrated approach to deep energy retrofit, not a single solution for or individual retrofit measure. The model looks at the home as a whole system. So it typically brings together high performance envelope upgrade, that overcladding system and mechanical system improvement. It often uses offsite manufacturer component, which can help reduce disruption for residents. And the important ideas are not only the technical measures, they are also the delivery principles behind the model: repeatability, aggregation, and affordability. So EnergySpring gives us a useful reference point for thinking about how similar homes can be grouped together, and how retrofit solution can become more standardized, and how deep energy retrofit can become more practical to deliver at a scale. EnergySpring is an NRCan-funded market transformation program led by SBC. It focused on building capacity among social and community housing providers to plan and advance the deep energy retrofit for low-rise part-9 housing in Ontario. So the program is not only about the retrofit solution and technical point of view, it's about helping providers move from interest to implementations. By identifying the priorities, building stronger investment cases, and preparing projects so they are actually more market ready when funding opportunity arise. So to understand what would make the sector more ready to deliver deep energy retrofit, we engage directly with a diverse group of partners. We held 2 IDP workshops, IDP referring to integrated design process. So the first one was with Halton region, January, and the second one was with the region of Waterloo in March. These workshops actually brought together housing providers, municipal staff, local community partner, industry representative, and technical expert together to explore what deep energy retrofit could look like in practice, using a selected social housing site as examples. In Halton workshop, the conversation looked at retrofit opportunities across 3 scales: the project scale, the neighborhood scale, and the portfolio scale. So the idea was to understand what changes when we move from one block of home to a larger neighborhood and eventually to a broader portfolio. In Waterloo, we built on what we learned from the Halton workshop and structured the conversation around technical consideration, project delivery, and financial consideration. Across both workshops, the goal was not only to present a retrofit concept, we also wanted to understand what could get in the way of turning a retrofit concept into a real project. The main barrier emerging from Halton and Waterloo was financial and structural, not simply technical. Through both workshops, we heard several important findings. The first one was housing. The staff do not see a major technical barrier to their using EnergySpring approach. The second one was housing providers do not have sufficient budget to pursue even a single DARE project using this approach. And also housing providers are constrained by the capital renewal process. Following the standard capital renewal process, these buildings will never achieve a municipal emissions target. And finally, participating municipalities have not yet fully connected their climate and emissions target to the deep retrofit require the existing affordable housing. Actually, these findings show us that we need to think differently about business as usual capital renewal and deep energy retrofit planning. BAU capital renewal is necessary. It is how housing providers keep buildings operational, safe, and in a state of good. It usually focuses on replacing individual components when they reach end of life. Such as roof, windows, heating and cooling system. But deep energy retrofit planning requires a different approach. It looks at the building as a system, as an integrated system, and asks how envelope upgrade or a mechanical system, energy performance, and comfort and long-term asset renewal can be considered all together. This is a much bigger planning and investment conversation. So it usually cannot be justified only through simple energy saving or short payback. So the shift is not that BAU is wrong, but BAU alone is not enough if the goal is long-term asset renewal and decarbonization at a scale. This is why EnergySpring developed a set of practical guides to support different stages of deep retrofit planning and delivery. The three guides are connected: the portfolio roadmap guide to support portfolio planning, the business case guide to support project approval, and the project delivery guide to support implementation. The portfolio roadmap guide helps a municipal asset manager and energy manager look across their housing portfolio and identify which buildings are the strongest candidate for deep energy retrofit. It starts by organizing existing information such as capital plan, building condition assessment, utility data, and emission information. It then helps connect that baseline with organizational priorities, climate commitment, and funding opportunity. The main value of the roadmap is that it creates a prioritized list of candidate projects. So housing provider can be more prepared when funding opportunity become available. Guide is a business case guide. This guide helps move from a portfolio level opportunity to a project level investment case. The key question is why this asset, why this scope, and why now? This is important because a deep energy retrofit can look like a very expensive project if it is only viewed through a short-term capital budget lens. So the business case guide helps shift the conversation toward a long-term asset value, emission reduction, tenant health and satisfaction, and risk reduction. It also helps clarify the differences between the total project cost and the incremental cost of achieving deeper energy and carbon outcome beyond the BAU capital plan. Third guide is a project delivery guide. The guides focus on the implementation and support project manager responsible for planning and delivery retrofit project. It involves multiple systems, teams, and decision, including technical, design and construction team, suppliers, owner, and also tenants team. The goal is to help project team address cost, the performance, phasing, and tenant impact in early stage of the process. So project can move from planning to delivery with more confidence. These guys, we also have been developing a cost-benefit tool to support early retrofit decision making, especially around cost, value, and trade-offs. The tool follows a simple step-by-step process. It uses archetype-based assumptions. User can define the project context, review the assumed baseline, select retrofit measure that they want, and compare results. Measures are grouped by category, such as enclosure, mechanical system, or ventilation, domestic hot water, and so on. So user can build and compare different retrofit scenarios. Actually, it is not intended to replace detailed costing or energy modeling. The goal is to help user understand the relative cost and energy reduction and trade-off between different retrofit scenarios, and to support a stronger business case conversation before moving into detailed project plan. You can scan this QR code on the slide and to access the tool page. Actually, at this stage, we want to hear from the sector, especially housing providers, about whether the tool is helping answer the question that matter most to them. Can it be helpful for their internal discussion on funding conversations? Does it support an integrated deep energy retrofit approach, or can it support portfolio scale thinking? For example, if a housing provider is thinking about 20, 50, or 100 similar homes, can the tool help them begin to understand the scale of the investment? That's actually why we are inviting people to participate in a focus review process. We are looking for a practical feedback from housing provider, municipal housing staff, technical advisor, cost and financing expert, and other sector stakeholders to understand retrofit planning and decision making. Actually, the reviewer will be asked to explore the tool and then complete a short survey. We will then review the responses and summarize the key theme and priorities and suggestions. And depending on the feedback, we may also have a virtual follow-up discussion to clarify the main findings and next steps. Trying to help housing provider move from retrofit interest to implementation. We know there is a strong interest in energy retrofit, but interest alone is not enough. Housing provider needs to practical tools, a strong business case, a clearer plan pathway, and better way to connect retrofit opportunity with fundings and delivery. So we see this is a sector conversation, and your feedback can help make these resources more practical and useful. So if you are interested, please use this QR code, and you can access to the tool and also to the survey. And you're also welcome to connect with us after the webinar if you would like to discuss it further or share feedback. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Nastaran. I see there is one question here in the chat that I will direct to you, which is prefabrication is crucial for housing industry. Are there many manufacturers involved in EnergySpring? Yeah, it's in the chat. If you want to answer it, if you want to answer it out loud or in the chat, up to you.
Oh, Nastaran, you're on mute.
Actually, in our workshop, we engage with some manufacturers. You're right, actually, but the most problem that we heard during the workshop was they are ready to do if the housing providers explain their needs, and they have to show their needs to them, and they are also eager to do that. I'll ask Adam to add any technical.
Yeah. So I'll add to that this is a big part of what we're trying to do is get more of the prefabricators involved. I think that there seems to be a pretty good coordination, maybe, or complementary benefit between the Build Canada Homes support of modern methods of construction and this approach to retrofits, this sort of industrialized EnergySprong approach. There doesn't seem to be enough capacity for entirely new construction for all the prefabricators that exist, but there's lots of space in this retrofit world for that capacity gap. And so that's part of what we're exploring. I'll answer to David, where are the costs coming from in the tool? So this is something that we are particularly interested in hearing from anyone who is testing out the tool is the way that it is set up right now, the sort of alpha version of it is really based in traditional retrofit. So if you click through, you'll see it's really all about that sort of incremental material cost of if you select a thicker insulation for the walls, it is sort of market price. And what we have realized that might not be the best approach for this type of retrofit. And so some of the feedback we've already received is that it is more appropriate to use a sort of per floor area, so per square meter cost based on previous projects. So what we're hoping is this the Retrofit Canada database with the cost information can feed into our costs, and then we're looking for your advice. There, I suggest using RetScreen database. Yeah, that's exactly. So part of our challenge is mixing, the existing EnerCan cost information with as much up-to-date market information as possible, and then so I recommend everyone, if you can, please go click through the tool. If you have suggestions, go through that cost benefit tool questionnaire, and please, if you can put any recommendations in there, that'll make its way back to Nastaran and I, and we'll be able to integrate it as we go forward. So I see we're at 12:59. I want to be respectful of everyone's time, but if there are any other questions, we'll give you one opportunity, maybe put it in the chat. If anyone has a question, would like to raise their hand and ask directly, we'll just keep an eye out for a hand. I will take this opportunity to thank both of our presenters, Rebecca and Nastaran. Thank you so much for sharing this. As we do the work, part of our challenge is that we're fairly insular, even within the big group of people tuned into this. It's there's quite a lot, but we're spread all across Canada, and we are always thankful for anyone who is interested to join us in the webinars. And we got 2 great requests for your work as attendees. Please go check out the database, and if you have projects that will fit, submit them, and check out the costing tool. And if you have recommendations, please share them with us. With that, I'll thank everyone for your time today. Again, Nastaran and Rebecca, thank you for taking the time to prepare this and present to us, and all the attendees. Thank you all for joining us today. Keep an eye out. We have more webinars in planning right now, so keep an eye out for those through our newsletter, on social media, and if you have any suggestions, please contact us. You should have our email address. All right. Thanks again. We'll talk to you all soon.
Thanks so much, Adam. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.